Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Welcome back today to Daily Dose Radio. This is your home for artisanal Bible study that's organic and fresh. Well, I'm going to have to hurry today because I've got a whole lot I want to get in 5 minutes, and that's going to be hard to do. First of all, notice how yesterday we read verses 1 and 2, failed to mention this. The tetragrammaton is used again in the very beginning of that first verse. Lord, thou hast been favorable unto thy land. Remember that is a mark there of the sons of Korah, the use of that word instead of the use of Elohim, which is translated God. The tetragrammaton is used here at the very beginning of the psalm. Also, the Selah divides verses 1 and 2 from the rest of the psalm, from the body of the psalm, and themes from verses 1 and 2 are going to be picked up in the remainder. Forgiveness, return, favorability of the Lord to his people and their relationship to the land, all of those things are going to be found here after the Selah. And so 1 and 2 kind of act like the topic sentence for the rest of the psalm. Verse 3 and 4 will be the reading for today. Thou hast taken away all thy wrath. Thou hast turned thyself from the fierceness of thine anger. Turn us, O God of our salvation, and cause thine anger towards us to cease. Now, I also said yesterday that you want to watch the pronouns. Prepositions are important and really kind of run the show in Hebrew translation, but here in this psalm, the pronouns are artfully constructed and used to help us with the division. And I want you to notice, beginning in verse 3, going all the way through verse 7, we have this dialogue between your or thy and our, or us. So your wrath, your anger, you turn thyself from the fierceness of thine anger, thy people, thy mercy, thy salvation. All of these are being used in this dialogue with the Lord. So watch now as we go through verses 3 and 4. All the way through 7, actually. We're going to see this back and forth between your speaking to the Lord and us, or our, speaking of the people. This is a nice little way that helps us to kind of divide up and kind of categorize the section of Scripture. Because later on in 9 through 13, we don't have that. That we have a totally different construction in the language. And we'll get to 9 through 13 later in the week. So we read verses 3 and 4. Notice what is being attributed to God here, his wrath and anger. You have taken away all thy wrath. You have turned yourself from the fierceness of thine anger and caused thine anger towards us to cease. So God's anger and his wrath are mentioned. We'll get to this tomorrow in verse 5. The anger is again, thine anger is mentioned again there. So he's been favorable unto the land and brought back the captivity of Jacob, which can be described as taking away all his wrath. His wrath was what drove them away, and now it's his mercy. We'll talk about mercy later on in the week that's bringing them back to the land. But I want you to notice this. Thou hast turned thyself from the fierceness of thine anger. Verse 4 says, turn us, O God of our salvation. So only God can do a turning work. And the psalmist here is asking for God, who has turned himself from the fierceness of his anger, to turn the people. So it's not a return of persons that the psalmist is asking for, because that's happened and that really hasn't had the effect that it needed to have. What he's asking for here is a conversion of souls. That is, help us to turn back towards you. Turn us, O God of our salvation. So God has turned himself from wrath. The psalmist now pleads, Lord, turn us to yourself. Only God can do a reviving work in the heart of men. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.